Hello paper crafters, I'm Sunny Sky and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we'll be using the Sitting Pretty stamp set and the matching framelits dies, which I have put on a magnetic sheet inside the stamp case so I can keep them all together, and several of the new colors that we're offering: Gray Granite, Balmy Blue, Mossy Meadow, and Merry Merlot. So let me show you the card that we are creating today. And it has just a little bit of dimension. And I'll tell you this, the simple part about this is I simply scored on this card a couple times, and this is not attached at the bottom, but this way it just gives you some dimension on that brick background, and the bench is sitting up, popped out from the card. So just that sort of fun card today. I want to show you a couple other things that I've created with this set. Here's one pretty similar scene where I simply reverse the colors, so Gray Granite brick, and the Merry Merlot bench, where this is Gray Granite and Merry Merlot bricks. So those are those two, and then I also made anniversary card for my husband. We used to have a bulldog, and we've got a bulldog in this set, so I just had to have the set. So let me show you what we're going to do today. Alright, so here are the cardstock sizes you need. If you want to jot them down, just hit pause on the video. Again, we're using the Merry Merlot, the Gray Granite, and some Whisper White. And we are doing this Gray Granite is going to be a full card, but I have the full sheet here, and I'm going to cut it for you on camera. So when I have a full sheet of cardstock, your trimmer comes with two blades, and the lighter blade is the scoring blade, and I've just put an S on there for score. Get this cutting one out of the way. And I will take a full sheet of cardstock and put it in half, which is 4 1/4, this direction. Score on the center, and then I'm going to turn it, and this time I'm going to cut at 5 1/2, and this will create two standard size cards from one sheet of cardstock. I've only had to score once, and yet I've gotten two cards out of it. And these are the size cardstock that will fit in your medium size envelope. And then if you just take your bone folder, you can firm up that scoring blade. The scoring blade on a trimmer is a gentle scoring blade. You've got to go a couple times on it to get it scored well. The other alternative is to use a scoreboard. If I'm going to do a lot of cardstock at once, I take our scoreboard and score a bunch of it, and then I have a big guillotine trimmer, and I'll just cut all this papers in half. I also wanted to show you, this is a brand new pack of grid paper. It's 11 by 17. This is fabulous. I don't stamp anywhere but on this. But it comes with a cardboard backing on both sides. Because the sheets are double-sided and they have metric and US measurements, so you decide which is the back of and which is the front of this grid paper when you purchase it. So I'm in the US, so I'm going to take off the cardboard so that the inch side is the top. Well, it's a little tough. Top side for this grid paper, but you can absolutely do it the other way too. And of course, once I get a lot of ink on my grid paper, I do flip it over and reuse it, even though those aren't the measurements that I need. Alright, so that's a brand new stack of grid paper, and this will last me a long time, maybe a year, because I reuse it. So let's get going on the card itself. I'm going to stamp up quite a bit of this card today, and we're going to start with the bricks. And we're going to do these in Merry Merlot, and I'm just going to put it on my new cardstock here. And because I've got to line up several rows of these, I'm going to use the Stamp-a-ma-jig. So this comes with this sheet of clear plastic. It is rough on one side and smooth on the other. You want to stamp on the smooth side, and the rough side gives a little bit of resistance on the paper so it won't slip around. So I am going to smooth side up, line up this clear plastic square in the corner of the Stamp-a-ma-jig itself, and get this corner right in the corner of the block, lift it off. And if I'm going to stamp in black, I don't do black on here, I do a different color on here. So the first one will be no problem. We're going to stamp just down on the corner of the cardstock here. And I'm going to not re-ink, and I'm going to stamp again, and it is going to be paler and it's going to look a little bit funny. but I'm okay with that because bricks have a distressed look to them. So I'm going to re-ink it now, and now I'm going to come and I'm going to do my second row over to the left side of the card. So I am putting the inked impression with this Stamp-a-ma-jig sheet right above the other one, putting it in the corner with the tool, lifting this off, and now I'm going to stamp down. Now this is a hard one to do with this because it is such a long stamp and not very much of it is going in the Stamp-a-ma-jig. Now as we go farther back, I want to make a lot of lighter bricks, so I'm just going to stamp off on all of them and then come on and do my card. I'll do one more row. Okay, you like my messy bricks? They are not very straight. Okay, next thing is I'm going to take in my Balmy blue and just sponge some blue into the sky because I'm going to stamp those plants in the background. And I just thought, well, with that, there was color all over the whole card, and then that one bit just looked awful white. And these are the Stampin' sponges just cut into quarters, and then I just used a punch and stapled on a little handle for myself. Alright, so there's that. Then let's take, in the Mossy Meadow, the plant. And again, we're going to have some plants that are more in the foreground and some in the background. So I'm going to stamp, and then stamp again without re-inking. And my darker ones are going to be lower down because those plants would be right on the edge of that brick wall in the front. And let's get some backdrop there. Okay, so there's the ferns, and this is the front of the card stamped. Then we're going to take our scrap of cardstock, and we're going to stamp again in this Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to stamp off once, and then stamp on here so that that green is a little bit paler in color, because I'm going to come again with this outline stamp that has the plant and the pot and try and line this up. Probably would have been wiser if I had done the outline, the darker outline first, but oh well. Hey, I did pretty good. Alright, and then there's one more piece that goes with this, and this is the pot itself that goes at the bottom. I've been calling this a fern, but it's really more like a spider plant, isn't it? And we'll just line up that pot there. There we go. And that's our pot. Okay, and then we have the squirrel. And the squirrel's a little tiny, and he's got two sides too. And so the gray granite. These are the new ink pads. You just flip and push back into place. So it saves you a step from the other ones that we had. Okay, so we're going to do the outline of the squirrel. I've got him on one side and then the detail on the other. So we're going to do the squirrel here. And then I'm using the same gray granite for the detail of the squirrel, but I'm going to stamp off once so that it will be paler in color. And there we go. So you see he's got a little bit of paler gray granite on the center of his body there. And then we just need to get these into the Stamp-a-ma-jig. I mean, into the Big Shot. Okay, so we've got to get our dies. So we've got our squirrel die here and our plant die here. Hey, and I found these found sheets on Amazon, magnet sheets. And there were several things, but these magnet sheets are perfect for crafting. They're 5x7. They're just a thin, flexible 5x7 magnet. And you got like 10 of them for 10 bucks. Maybe it was 20 for 10 bucks or 12 bucks. I couldn't find anything locally. I looked at the home improvement store and I didn't see anything there. Okay, so I'm getting this all lined up in here, and then I'm just going to throw some washi tape over top of it just so it doesn't move and slip when I put it in the Big Shot. Alright, that's one good thing about washi tape not being very sticky, is you can use it for these dies and it's not going to tear up your cardstock. But don't ever do it to try and hold on a layer, because it's not sticky enough for that. Alright, now I'm going to take this over to the Big Shot, and I'll be right back. So while I was over at the Big Shot, I not only cut these out, but I also cut out the bench out of my Merry Merlot. Now, this has quite a bit of detail in it, and some embossing areas. So I've got my die brush and my little foam strip here. And I'm just going to roll this over to help loosen up all of those details. A few more out here. Okay, so we've got this front stamped card, and I'm going to get my scoring blade, and I'm just going to go up about an inch. And I wasn't real precise with this, but just about an inch, and I'm going to score. And then I'm going to go up another 1/4 inch, so you can see your inch mark over here, and then 1 1/4 inches. So I'll just scoot it over a little more there. Alright, so I've got 2 scores, and then I'll do a mountain valley fold with those. So, you can see it a little better on the back. So I'm going to bend this one down, and then the other one is going to go the opposite way. Get my bone folder. It's taking care of those. Alright, so there's my little scored area. Glue just on the bottom legs of this bench. So we're going to just put that bench right on there. And the legs will be the only part that is attached. Just going to use some mini glue dots here. And a couple on my plant. I'm just doing them on the near the bottom of my plant. And I think on my sample I glued them on with the with that fine tip glue pen. We'll just add a little more extra dimension here. And get that right in front of the bench. And the same thing with our squirrel. You know what? He needs to have that fine tip glue pen. Let me just take this off and get that glue pen back. And we're just going to put that adhesive just on the bottom of him so he can sit on the top of the bench there. Okay, there's that guy. And we have one more piece of stamping left to do. We're going to use our Memento ink and our scrap of Merry Merlot. Oh, and I wanted to show you this. This greeting is kind of scripty. It's hard to see the straight line. So a lot of time what I'll do is set it down on my grid paper and just follow the grid along the bottom of a word there. So you know you have the word lined up, and then you can put your block on top and make sure your block is straight with the grid too. And then you get a better chance of getting it straight. The other thing I'll do is put it totally catty corner so that there's no question. And then I'm going to try and line it up straight against my cardstock. It's kind of a big phrase, and I don't want it to take over the whole card, so I put it pretty close to the edge there. Alright, I'm going to do it. And you know, I store this upside down just to keep that juicy at the top. These ink pads, of course, they're automatically flipped, so they keep it juicy. But that Memento is not. Alright, get rid of my scoring blade. And I'm not measuring this at all. I'm just looking to where the top of the word is and going above that to cut that off. And then cutting a diagonal. Again, just kind of looking where the edge of the words are. And then when I go to cut the other side, oh, I did it too close to the edge. It doesn't have the point. Look at this. I'm just screwing up all kinds of stuff today. Okay, so when you do the one side, you can do it at any angle of diagonal. But when you go to do the opposite side, you need to line up so that it won't be a trapezoid, or so that it won't be a, so that it will be a parallelogram. So make sure that it's straight, but yet your words are not off the edge. It looks like I could get a little closer, because you want it to be that parallelogram. Okay, so there's that one. Get this out of the way. And then we put it right there. I don't think I'm going to glue it down because I'd like to fix that and do another one. Putting a couple layers on that just above the folds above the score lines. Okay, so you're just going to line up the top and just kind of visually inspect the bottom. Now this is, I didn't cut any special dimensions. It's going to be the exact same borders when it's not folded up. But when it is folded up, they're really not going to notice that that's different. And then when you mail this, you can mail it flat and it'll pop up. Or you can, when you get it in the envelope, you can put it in the envelope like this so that it has more bend in it. So then when they open it, it'll pop up a little. And then just put it on your full card, in this case, gray granite. And I have a stamp I bought with my name and stamp by that I always put on the back of my cards. So then I would just put that on the back. Alright, and then you would have your little greeting there. Here's my original one, where I did a second layer of the spider plant back behind there. Here's the one. See, this has got a lot of Merlot on it. I kind of like it with the granite. Oh, I like that too. But there's the gray granite bench and then the reverse brick. And then there's that one that I did with that cute little bulldog. So thank you all for joining me today. Please share this video, subscribe to the channel. If you need some supplies, shop on my website. And go have some fun crafting.